Hello, I'm James Warne and this is a Soil First Farming talk on calcium. More importantly, calcium and its interaction in the soil. Here at Soil First Farming, we believe that calcium is really important to achieving good soil structure, which can lead to better soil health, better functioning soil biology. It is also an important plant nutrient in its own right. So what is it about calcium that allows this to happen? In the soil, calcium is found in its ionic form, which means that it has two positive charges. Soil particles such as clay and the smaller silt fraction is negatively charged. They can have multiple negative charges. So the calcium, being positively charged, bonds with the clay or with the silt. It can also bond with organic matter, which can be negatively charged as well. So you can have organic matter, clay, bonding to the calcium. And the important part to notice here is the fact that it's the distance between these particles which starts to give us pore space. So as the calcium bonds with the clay and the organic matter, this is called flocculation. As we have more flocculation, this builds into aggregation of soil particles, which gives us good crumb structure on the surface. It might give us better blocky, angular structure in the topsoil and down into the subsoil when we dig down. But the important thing to note is it's the fact that it's the distance between these bonds within that flocculation which gives us pore space. If we didn't have enough calcium in the soil, we'd probably end up with soil which is dominated by magnesium or potentially potassium or sodium. And that tends to lead to this sort of situation where we've got no pore space going on. So we've got the silt, the clay, the sand, all being quite tightly packed. And I'm sure that you're all familiar with those sorts of soils. Soils which tend to be waterlogged in winter. In summer they tend to dry out and go very hard. They can be slow to warm up in the spring. They may not drain very well, and they may not produce particularly good yields. So why is having this flocculation, aggregation, and the pore space that creates so important? Here's a chart I'm sure you've all seen before. It's a fairly basic view of how we understand soil. We've got the solid fraction over here, 45% mineral, 5% organic matter, and then we've got the pore space over here, which is where we find the 25% water, 25% air. Now, obviously, having water movement and air movement through the soil is really important, and that's only facilitated by having this pore space. And if we haven't got enough calcium, we haven't got enough pore space, therefore we don't get this water and air movement and transfer through the soil. Water movement is obviously critically important for achieving drainage. It also carries nutrient to the plant roots. Air is critical because, again, we need air to get down to the plant roots. We also need air, oxygen in the soil to create a functioning aerobic biology, which then is what we term to be a more healthy, functioning soil. So I'm sure at this point the question you're all asking is, how do I know if I've got enough calcium in my soil? And that's a really good question, because currently all our agricultural advice for soil is based around a very basic soil test. We test for its acidity or its alkalinity, so pH. We test for the phosphate. We test for the potash. We test for the magnesium. Nowhere in here are we testing for our soil calcium levels. And that's a topic that I'll come on to in a later video. Or alternatively, please visit our website at www.soilfirstfarming.co.uk. Thank you.